A strong cold front will send temperatures crashing this weekend across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and southeastern Canada, who could see their first frost, freeze, and their first snowfall of the season. All that in this video, as well as a late season storm system could actually bring more severe weather to the middle of the country as we head towards the middle of October, and your full tropical weather update all in this video. Good Tuesday morning out there, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. If you guys have not yet subscribed or hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates here on this channel. Looking first here across the United States, we have a little bit of some rainfall across the desert southwest all the way up into the northern plains here with a storm system today. We also have some rainfall across the I-95 corridor from Boston to New York City, getting into the mid-Atlantic here with a little bit of a surface trough as we head through the afternoon today. In between, we have some high pressure, so lots of sunshine can be expected from the Chicago area, Detroit, all the way back down into east central Texas toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And as we move in toward the middle of the week, we'll start to see a couple of cold fronts take shape across the northern United States, bringing some limited precipitation chances to the upper Great Lakes and again down towards the desert southwest. But more importantly, these cold fronts will actually sweep through, bring drier conditions and also cooler temperatures to the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and much of the Ohio Valley as we get into late this week and into this upcoming weekend. So let's track that here for you guys. We see a little bit of some cooler weather as we head towards the middle of this week. You can see all the blues and greens up here into northern Canada. Those will start to dive farther to the south as we get towards late this week and into this weekend. And by the time we get to your Friday time frame, you can start to see these blue shaded colors here getting closer toward the Ontario, Quebec, Canada area, and the trough starting to develop across the upper Great Lakes and New England as we head towards Friday. Looking at your temperatures, however, this afternoon on Tuesday, October 4th, we do have some pretty pleasant conditions across most of the country here. Some cooler weather across the northeast with some of that rainfall and the cloud cover, but farther to the west, we can be expecting lots of 70s, even some middle 80s across portions of Kansas, down through Oklahoma into Texas. Some pleasant 70-degree temperatures from the Twin Cities back to Chicago here, Green Bay, and even Des Moines, Iowa, with some lower and middle 70s there for your afternoon highs. As we get towards Thursday, however, late this week into Thursday, October 6th, you can start to see that strong fall cold front moving southward across the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. High temperatures for Thursday afternoon for much of North Dakota, getting into north central Minnesota, will actually be in the middle to upper 40s here. May even feel a little bit cooler than that, maybe down into the upper 30s during the day with some of the breezes behind that cold front. So definitely a chilly day to say the very least. Farther to the south, however, on your Thursday, lots of warmer temperatures up to near 90 here in the Dallas area, up to near 90 into portions of Fort Smith, Arkansas, getting over there toward portions of Memphis into the upper 80s. But as we get into Thursday night, into your Friday morning, yes, lots of hard freeze conditions with lots of middle 20s and upper 20s across the Dakotas region, getting back into Minnesota there, the Northwoods of Wisconsin, with even that freezing line getting as far south as Des Moines, Iowa, maybe even places of North Platte and Grand Island, Nebraska as well as we head into your Friday morning. And that will set the stage for a very chilly Friday here, October 7th, across most of the north central and northeastern United States, as that cool weather will spread all the way south toward the Tennessee, Ohio River valleys, and even portions of the southern plains as well. We'll be talking about middle 70s for places like Oklahoma City, Norman, Oklahoma, getting up toward the Tulsa area, upper 80s still down to the south here across the immediate Gulf Coast, but look to the north across much of the Midwest there, the Ohio Valley, and the Great Lakes. Temperatures will be held down into the upper 40s, if not middle 50s across those regions as we head into Friday, setting up a widespread frost and freeze conditions across the area Friday night into early Saturday morning to start your weekend. Lots of upper 20s and lower 30s. I expect a lot of frost and freeze headlines for these areas as we head towards this weekend. Also here the next 2 days, the next 48 hours, not much in the way of precipitation. We do have some heavier precipitation possible across the Mid-Atlantic and the I-95 corridor from Boston to New York City, back down through New Jersey and portions of Maryland there. Some heavier pockets of rain can be expected there with 1 to 2 inches possible as we head through the next 48 hours. Some limited precipitation chances across the Dakotas, back into Nebraska and into the desert Southwest, particularly into New Mexico and West Texas as we head through the next 48 hours. Generally kind of averaging around a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall in some of these spots through the next couple of days. But we are watching with this cool air as it drops south some snow potential across Ontario and even Quebec, Canada. So looking up here to the northeast part of the screen, you can definitely see here the European high resolution model forecast actually really doesn't depict much of a snow event here at all. Maybe some flurries, maybe some, like a dusting or trace of snowfall across portions of Ontario and Quebec. But the GFS, the American model, is so much more bullish on the snowfall potential across eastern Ontario into western Quebec, Canada, putting almost a foot of snowfall across some of these areas. So a very big drastic change within the global models here. And looking even at the Canadian forecast model, still kind of a little bit more bullish with up to around 6 to 8 inches across portions, at least into the Quebec and eastern portions there of Ontario, Canada. So a lot of disagreement here. We'll continue to fine tune this as we get towards late this week, but yes, some snowfall, at the very least some flurries, maybe a decent snowstorm potential here across these areas as we get towards the next few days. So we'll continue to monitor that. Looking out here at the alerts, not many alerts here, very quiet across the United States, lots of dry conditions for now, but across portions of northeastern Arizona, we have flood watches here currently. This is as we have that monsoonal moisture here moving northward across western Mexico into the desert Southwest. You can see later on this afternoon, you can see these green shaded colors. We could have about 1 to 2 standard deviations here above climatology for moisture in the area here. That will continue toward late this week here, some moisture from western Mexico from the tropics in the eastern Pacific moving northward into the desert Southwest, and really that continues in a big way as we head towards this weekend as well, with not much change in the flow, with a lot of monsoonal moisture spreading northward again into portions of Southern California, Arizona, and New Mexico, which is important because we definitely need some rainfall and moisture here in the moisture-starved ground down here with a lot of drought ongoing, so that is some good news. But with the dry ground, we definitely could be seeing some heavier pockets of rain within this area. And again, as we move through the day today and into your Wednesday, a marginal risk of 5 to 10% chance of an isolated flash flooding event or two within this area here into portions of Arizona, southern Nevada there, including portions of Las Vegas, getting back up there towards south central Utah, southwestern portions there of Colorado and western New Mexico. That spreads more eastward into New Mexico and southern Colorado, maybe even far west Texas as we head into your Wednesday into Thursday time frame. But as we get in towards the middle of the month, things start to get a little bit more interesting here across the contiguous United States. So looking here towards the 9th, 10th time frame here of the month of October, we have this pretty strong trough here across the northeastern Pacific underneath a ridge that will be spiking its way all the way up here into portions of the Aleutian Islands and western Alaska. We also will have a ridge influence here across portions of western Canada and into the northwestern United States with much above normal temperatures, believe it or not, across portions of British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, Canada, and the southwestern Canadian provinces. Places like Washington, Oregon State getting back over towards Montana, we could be 10 to 15 degrees above normal, while the eastern half of the United States during this period will actually remain near normal to slightly below normal in the temperature department. But as we get towards that 11th and 12th time frame and towards the middle of next week, this really starts to get interesting as a very strong trough is indicated here on the European forecast model, and it has for the last couple of runs of the data here, and it actually brings temperatures down quite a bit across the northwestern United States and southwestern Canada, replacing those warmer temperatures with much cooler temperatures that could be on the order of 10, 15, even up to 20 degrees below normal compared to what we should be seeing this time of year towards that time frame, and really a strong storm system with potentially a closed low pressure system starting to develop across southern California, southern Nevada perhaps, as we get towards that 13th and 14th time frame, which would be Thursday and Friday of next week across the southwestern United States, which would actually make for a positively tilted trough across this area. And this is concerning because we do have a lot of the stronger jet streak here across the southern and southwestern United States, moving across Arizona, New Mexico, and important parts of the southern plains. And really looking at this climatologically, this is a setup we look for maybe at least limited chances for some late season severe weather, as we see some warmer temperatures out ahead of this as we head towards at least the middle of next week. Ahead of this trough, we could be seeing temperatures back into the 70s, not only for the southern portions of the United States, but well up to the north after we have a cool down this weekend, back up to portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa. A lot of these places will be warming back well into the 70s here, well above normal. And you can clearly see where the cold front will kind of be sitting across portions of western Minnesota, getting into the Dakotas here and into Nebraska middle of the week next week. That will start to spread eastward with a lot of 80s actually being pulled north toward the Ohio Valley. And that is a prime setup for some severe weather, especially when you see surface dew point temperatures rising into the middle and upper 50s, kind of the threshold for severe weather in the early season and even the late season events is about 55 degrees Fahrenheit or higher for dew points, and we look to have that all the way up here into portions of western Ontario as we head in towards the middle of next week. And that actually starts to climb even more as we get towards Thursday, October 13th, and even Friday, October 14th here, with dew points well into the 60s across portions of the Mid-South, lower 70s perhaps here, being pulled up with dew points in the far western Gulf of Mexico northward into eastern Texas, southern Arkansas, and into parts there of Louisiana. So this is a setup we'll have to keep in mind for some late season severe weather as we get towards the middle and end of next week. We'll keep you tuned in here on kind of keep you updated on this as we get closer. But looking at the tropics, we got some tropical trouble to watch here across the open waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Looking at the satellite imagery, we got some quiet weather here across the Caribbean, the Western Atlantic, and much of the Gulf of Mexico right now. We are watching the system here farther off the coast here of Africa, posing some risk here to the Windward Islands and potentially the southern Atlantic Ocean over the open waters over the next few days. That's the system here that has a 70% chance of development here across the southeastern portions of the Atlantic Ocean. We do also have a 20% chance of a developing tropical depression or tropical storm closer to the Windward Islands over the next 2 to 5 days. We'll have to keep in mind as well. But looking at that 70% chance here of development, that could be that likely chance of a tropical storm developing. We're really starting to see a lot of organization with this system here, a lot of those overshooting tops here with those updrafts pushing 40, 50,000 feet across this area over the open waters. And the ensemble tracks actually take this just slightly to the north and east of the Windward Islands and much to the north there of the South America coast. So this will kind of be remaining over the open waters of the southern Atlantic Ocean, really remaining a nuisance until we kind of get a little bit closer toward the Lesser Antilles and the Windward Islands as we get towards the middle of next week, and that is something we'll continue to watch. But again, this looks to remain a tropical storm really right through its entirety and its intensity here through the open waters of the Atlantic Ocean here. And so we'll track this later on this afternoon. We got a 1009 millibar low pressure center here. That's that system we're watching that has a 70% chance of development just well to the east here, the Windward Islands here, and just off the coast there of Africa. That'll be pushing its way farther to the west-northwest over the next couple of days, going through Thursday, October 6th, probably starting to weaken very quickly as it encounters some cooler waters and also a lot of wind shear as it pushes closer toward that Bermuda high pressure system and the influence with that and a lot of that wind shear. And as we get toward the weekend, again, that Bermuda high pressure system will start to kind of suppress this system from really forming and developing. So that is some good news, but we'll continue to watch portions here of the central and eastern Caribbean as we could have another tropical depression, tropical storm developing from that 20% chance area here, like I was showing you, that could be moving toward the Central Americas here and maybe even in towards the Eastern Pacific Ocean as we get towards late this weekend and in towards next week. So that will be something to watch. But we always have to watch this time of year. We still are in the active hurricane phase here across portions of the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf of Mexico. We still have the warmer waters here. It's going to be moving into an area with slightly cooler waters waters here with some kind of some upwelling and churning of the waters from previous systems. But again, we do have a lot of wind shear and a lot of that Bermuda high pressure system influence with this, which will kind of keep this down and suppress from becoming a big storm. So that is something we'll continue to keep an eye on. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate all the viewers out there every single morning. You guys rock. Thank you guys so much here. Remember to like the video down below, giving it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates here on this channel. Have a great Tuesday, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next video.